So hello my dear friends, welcome back. Welcome to your channel Cooking Astrology. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for subscribing my channel and liking my videos. Thanks a lot. So let's continue our journey, our series of Dashas in Vedic Astrology. And in this particular video, we are going to be decoding the 6th house Lord Dasha in Vedic Astrology. And yes, we are discussing with regards to the 6th house Lord, the planet that is controlling your 6th house. We are not discussing the planets that are sitting in the 6th house. So there is a total difference. So we are discussing with regards to the 6th house Lord Dasha and how with the help of this Dasha, you will be able to create a better environment in your own life. Although I will tell you one very important thing here, when it comes to the 1st to the 5th house Lord Dashas, most of the things are fixed in your own life, okay? In Vedic Astrology, there is a concept of Drid Karma, which means there are certain things in our life which have no capacity to gain control over such events, like deciding our parents who will become our father, mother, our siblings, even our family. So there are certain fixations which are coming from the 1st to 5th house. But when you enter into the 6th house Lord Dasha, this is the prarabdha of the native actually. It means most of the things, 99% of the things are going to be in your own hand. Specifically, if you are going through the 6th house Lord Dasha, maybe in the future you will encounter after 5-10 years later, maybe you will encounter this Dasha, or maybe in the past you have already witnessed this Dasha. But this is one of the most important Dashas in order for you to see the progression cycles of your own life. And secondly, with the help of this Dasha, you will be able to understand the true realities of the life. Because if you look, first of all, the 6th house have to deal with all the negative case scenarios. This have to deal with the health of the native. 6th house is the house of acquiring loan, mortgage, debt also. This is also the house of your hidden enemies actually. It also represents your internal enemies which are present inside you. All the limitation and the restrictions factors are also seen through the 6th house. But if you look this 6th house from the positive standpoint of view, acquiring loan and mortgage will eventually help you to maybe purchase your own home, buying a property. So that part is also going to be connected with the 6th house. Regarding the limitations or the limiting factor, this Dasha will eventually help you to breach out of your limiting factor, because this is the Dasha which will eventually help you to explode up to the highest potential of your own life. With the help of this Dasha, you will be able to decode or understand who are my real friends and who are my real enemies actually. Most of the time people, they will not be able to recognize or differentiate between who are my best friend and who are my worst enemies. So with the help of this Dasha, you will be able to understand many things. This is also the Dasha which is actually going to require a lot of sacrifice. I hope you remember my 3rd house Lord Dasha series where I am discussing with regards to the 3rd house Lord. So I told you 3rd house is the house which represents the struggle. So 3rd house Lord Dasha is a struggling Dasha. It's one of the most struggling periods of your entire life. Similarly, 6th house is also same, okay? Because in the Kalpurusha Kundli, both of these houses are actually somewhat connected by planet Mercury. So the 3rd house things are actually getting multiplied by the time you reach into the 6th house. So this Dasha is first of all giving you a very tough and very challenging environment. Now it totally depends upon the 6th house Lord dignity in the D1 and other divisional charts also, in the Bhava Chalit chart also, how that planet is function and how that planet is operating. But understand one very simple thumb rule with regards to the 6th house Lord Dasha. God is not going to give you that sort of challenges which you are not capable of handling. Although this Dasha is going to test your limit up to very large extent. But understand one thing here, this will eventually help you to reframe your own life. It's like restructuring your own life into the much positive manner. So this is the first main siddhant or the main thumb rule or principle which is connected with this 6th house. Second important thing, as I told you, this is the prarabdha of the native, okay? Prarabdha means you are going to be creating a many new karmas. 5th house is your past life deeds, is the purv sanchit karma which you have bring forward in this present life. So from the 6th house, the initiations are actually happening. Initiation of the karma. So whatever your intention, whatever your intent which is required or which is behind performing certain karmas, that is seen through the sixth house. So here your intention is also going to be dictating the results, irrespective of where sixth house lord is positioned in your horoscope. It may be it is positioned into the 10th house of the career. So it means the intention with regards to career is going to dictate how that sixth house lord period is going to be. If sixth house lord is positioned into the second house, that is the house of money. So your own intention towards making money is actually going to be dictating the results of the sixth house. That is the reason I told you most of the things are going to be in your own control if you are actually going through this sixth house lord period in your own life. Also, you can categorize this dasha into two various broader perspectives, because sixth house in Vedic astrology is also deeply associated and connected with the 12th house also. So you can just consider this dasha is like to be where the person is going to be not be able to drawn or go more into the path of materialism. If you go more into the path of materialism, one spiritual angle is going to be always present up there that have the capacity to actually take your life journeys towards more into the path of the spirituality. So the tug of war which you are going to be experiencing in this dasha is actually going to be it's at peak potential. This is also one of the most difficult periods of the entire life. Now, it's not necessary all the individuals they go through the sixth house lord dasha, okay, because the sequence of the dasha is different for different individuals. But for example, suppose in the peak periods of your life, peak period mean between the age of 20 till 60. For example, you are experiencing this sixth house lord dasha, and maybe sixth house is controlled by any planet. If it is Jupiter, then 16 years long period. If it is Saturn, then the 19 years long period. If it is Mercury, 17 years. So irrespective of which planet is gaining control over the sixth house, but if you go into the sixth house lord dasha in the peak periods of your life, it means the age of 20 till the age of 60. The very first thing, this dasha will eventually going to help you to like take the taste of what is business actually. Okay, no matter from which background you are coming or which family lineage you are coming, this dasha will eventually help you to understand how the part is working behind the business. Because in Vedic astrology, sixth house also represents the commission oriented work. Basically where you are making money based over the other people money. Like take the example of a real estate agents. They are trying to sell something, maybe big property, and they are charging 1 to 2% commission over the other people money. So that dynamics are going to be coming in this period. Secondly, if you are into the part of business and entrepreneurship, and suppose you are going for raising a money with the help of investors, and if you are going through the sixth house lord dasha, it means definitely your chart will also going to be taking you in that direction, where you will be able to take money from other people and then able to start something of your own on the independent manner. If, for example, the dignity of this lord is very weak, then this might have the capacity to create different fraud things in your own life as well. Like you suddenly fall for certain financial frauds actually. That is also going to be connected with sixth house. That is also the main reason why enemies are seen through the sixth house. It's not the enemies which are actually like present outside. It's the internal enemies also. The enemies with regards to greed, which is present inside every human being. Lust, which is present inside every person. Your anger is also your biggest enemy. So this dasha will acting as a purification factor in front of your internal enemies. And after that purification part, this dasha will eventually give you permission to look into the 12th house realm also, which is the outer realm in Vedic astrology that have to deal with the things which are not existed or which is not present in this in the physical realm of the life. So after identifying your inner enemies or your inner potential, this dasha will also help you to grow into the spiritual dynamics of the life also. So basically this is going to be a very progressive dasha. It's not going to be a very slow dasha for 95% of the people. There are many other houses, lords, whose dashas might going to be bit slow, not be able to give you any sort of progression. But this dasha, 6th house, I will tell you, this is going to be one of the most progressive dashas of your entire life. even most of the time in your peak time frame. For example, the difficult planets are gaining control over this 6th house. So the legal matters, including litigations, can also be seen through the 6th house. I have seen many people during my consultations, they are going through some sort of a legal disputes in their life, and they are going through the 6th house Lord Dasha. So this Dasha will also help you to understand the legalities of the life. What is court? What is court cases, and how to deal and fight with the legal battle. So that part is also going to be connected with the 6th house. Any sort of fighting situation with the opposite party, it may be with regards to some legal matters, or maybe, for example, you are working in a job, or maybe you are a businessman. So there are going to be many competitors that are also going to be involved in your own field of business. So this Dasha will eventually help you to identify who are my competitors and how can I defeat them. That is the main agenda of the 6th house Lord. Identifying the competitors. It's not applicable to business, in the job also. For example, you are doing a 9-to-5 job. So this, if a person is in the 6th house Lord, so the mentality or the mindset of that person is going to be how I'm going to be defeating my own co-workers to actually acquire some big position in some corporation or in some company. So that agenda of the 6th house Lord is very clear actually. It's a very cut-to-cut Dasha, you can call it as. Like if the 6th house Lord is going to decide something, so that have the capability to achieve that thing as well. So this is a very task-oriented thing actually. Okay. Originally, if you look in the Kal Purush Kundli, I told you this is the Mercurian energy. So whether you are planning to maybe sending space ships to Mars, or maybe you are having some different agenda, this have the capacity to actually fulfill that all the agendas of the person's life. Because here I will tell you, initially when you enter into 6th house, suddenly this will give you like very uncomfortable situations, because it's very difficult to deal with the 6th house. But by the time you will reach towards the end of the 6th house Lord Dasha, the person will be becoming a pure gold actually. So circumstances have actually chiseled you in such a way where this is going to be creating a very strong character. Irrespective of whether you are male or you are female actually. This Dasha Lord have the capacity to bring a pure gold out of you actually. So this is creating a diamond. Okay. This is that 6th house energy. Apart from this thing, this is also the Dasha which have to deal with the many hospital cases, sudden emergencies of the life, and even with regards to the accidents also. If, for example, your 6th house Lord is certain malefic Graha like Mars, and if it is debilitated with Ketu and certain other afflictions, so this Dasha will also actually going to be creating difficulties in the health and the disease of the part of the person as well. The very major things which you need to be looking if you are judging this 6th house Lord Dasha, first of all, judge where this 6th house Lord is positioned in the chart. And then try to see from the bigger or the holistic point of view, the areas which are controlled by this planet, whether this planet is aspecting some other planet or in conjunction with this planet. Like for example, I will give you some basic thumb rule here. There are 4 elements in Vedic astrology. Okay, fire element, then there is the earth element, air element, and the water element. Okay, if for example your 6th house Lord is positioned into the fire element, fire means the sign of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, then I will tell you this Dasha is going to be very headstrong, or the person is going to be very aggressive while dealing with all the matters of the 6th house. So this Dasha is going to be very progressive, and the person will also become very ambitious to achieve many things. So this is going to give you mindset, okay, I want to overly achieve everything in my own life. This is also the Dasha which will lead towards the perfection if it is in the fire. If the 6th house Lord is going into the earth element, then the person is going to be more drawn towards the materialism or the materialistic side of the life. In the earth element, this can also give inherited related disputes. Legal disputes are also going to be seen if it is in the earth element. If 6th house Lord, for example, is positioned into the air element, then this is going to create a lot of movement in your own life. Movement means change of places. Maybe you are going 2 years in some different company. Next 2 years you are going into some different country and you are experiencing different cultures. So air element is not bringing any sort of stability. In the air, you will also going to identify your enemies very easily actually. And these are the real enemies I'm talking about. Maybe they are present in front of you, they are having good terms and condition with you, but on the back of their mind, they are having some negative intention. So you will be able to identify. If, for example, this Lord is forming connection with the second house of your own family, it means in your own family, you will be able to identify, okay, these are my real enemies. Your brothers, your sisters, your siblings, they can also become enemy if you are into the sixth house Lord. Keep that point in your mind. Lastly, if the sixth house Lord is going in the Jal Tattva, water, then 100% drawn is going to be towards spirituality. I have seen many people converting their careers from the corporate world towards the spirituality, towards astrology, towards numerology, palmistry, occult sciences during this sixth house Lord. So this Dasha, if it is operating into the water realm, is going to help you to take your journey into that field. I have seen people becoming many successful sports person in this Dasha, becoming very successful in the field of politics in this Dasha, because this Dasha will eventually help you to understand each and every dynamics into the much broader angle. Many people, for example, they are not going through their sixth house Lord Dasha. So their life pattern is going to be totally different as the person who have eventually seen this Dasha. I will personally tell you, these are the most experienced people in any walk of the life. The person who have seen their sixth house Lord Dasha. Or maybe if you are right now going through this Dasha, you will eventually going to gain a hell lot of experience. And I will tell you, this experience which you are gaining will also help you to create a generational shift in your own life. Like maybe right now you are one generation behind. And if person is fortunate enough to encounter sixth house Lord Dasha, so you will be able to like go forward into the higher ranks, or you will be able to fill that generational gap actually. So the power or the potential of this Lord Dasha is at extremely high. Out of all the 12 houses, there is only third house and sixth house Lord Dasha, which will create that generational shift in your own life, making a big amount of money. So that part is also going to be connected with this sixth house. If, for example, its sixth house Lord is retrograde and combust also, retrogression will eventually going to form a loop in your life actually. Then you are going to be continuously revolving around similar kind of circumstances again and again. And failures are also going to be way much high. In your case, if your sixth house Lord is retrograde, if a normal person is failing 5 times to achieve something, you need to fail 10 times to accomplish the same thing. Because I told you, this is a perfection seeking Dasha. Similarly, if the sixth house Lord is combust, it's not going to be creating much impact in your own life. But if the sixth house Lord is suppose forming connection with the Rahu and Ketu axis, then there is going to be sudden boost which is going to be fitted with this sixth house. And in the scenarios where people are going to be suddenly changing their jobs on very frequent manner, that possibility is also there because of sixth house Lord forming connection with Rahu. If it is into the, for example, ninth house with sitting with Mercury, with Jupiter, this will also give you inspiration towards writing something, writing a book, publishing a book, even pursuing further studies also, education, higher education, to gain more and more and more knowledge actually. So craving towards, hunger towards acquiring knowledge is also going to be, it is at peak in the sixth house. Because this is the first, I told you, this is the prarabdha where the person is building everything. So if the sixth house Lord is very well positioned in this chart, and you are eventually seeing your Dasha between 20 to 30 or 40, I will tell you, you are going to really mark a very strong foundation for the rest half of your own life. I have seen many people encountering sixth house Lord Dasha in the very beginning stages of the life. Like when they were 5 years of age and they are seeing this Dasha. So they will eventually going to see all these circumstances in the very beginning stages of the life. Many a times I have seen people encountering sixth house Lord Dasha in their 70s, in their 60s, in their 80s also. So I will tell you, during that time frame also, all the parameters of the sixth house, they are getting exemplified in front of you. The very best way, I will tell you, to deal with this Dasha is to actually not force yourself to go against this 6th house lord. If, for example, the direction of the 6th house lord is even negative, by chance I'm telling you, it's better for you not to put any sort of restrictions against the 6th house lord Dasha. I've seen many people crying, suffering in the 6th house lord Dasha. And the reason, because they will not be able to understand the direction which this 6th house lord is trying to give them. So if you will be able to understand it from the higher perspective, okay, if my 6th house lord is giving me this direction, it's better to choose that direction rather than putting my own force against them. Only in this way you will be able to utilize its result into the positive manner. So I hope you have gained some deep insights in this video with me. Regarding any consultations also, you can just drop me an email. And if you find even a small insights, you can also send me super thanks. Any small contribution from your side will also help me to feel more motivated to make more such content over the YouTube platform. Also make sure to subscribe my channel below and hit the like button if you really enjoyed this video. And we are going to meet very, very soon in the next video discussing the 7th house lord Dasha in Vedic Astrology. So till then, please take care of yourself and may God bless you. Hare Krishna.